So we're looking at the best players under 200k. Let's go. Keepers, I like to keep sweet and short because you could pick any keeper. Literally, if you like him, that just is good enough. There is no sense behind it. It is just totally who you've packed, who you have untradeable, the highest rated, is their icon or not. I personally rock gold Courtois in there, and literally I've changed him for Van der Sar. Even though I do think Van der Sar is better over the long haul, Courtois is just good enough for an untradeable keeper. All of these keepers are here that they're under 200k. I think you would be better off going for an Alisson Team of the Year, a Van der Sar Team of the Year check. But if you don't have the budget, then these are more than suffice. Even a gold Ederson or Alisson would still do at this point in the game. And then we jump away from the keepers into centre-backs. Now, this is a position where I feel like a lot of people have got their centre-backs, and with this list, it is a shame that maybe Footbin could do something in adding the evolutions to this as well. Maybe there's a button where you could see what evolutions people have, and I could kind of go under that assumption. Would be a little bit more difficult because obviously it would depend on when the evolutions are still available. I try not to put any SBC cards in here that have expired because there's no point me telling you they're decent for the value if they're not in or not available in the game anymore. So I've gone for pretty much most of either transferred right now or they are in the SBCs and have a few days left at the minimum. We start off with the gold Virgil. Pretty easy, 28,000 coins, still a very good centre-back. Honestly, I don't know if I'll ever get rid of him unless it's for another version of himself. He's just been brilliant. We then have a few others. We have some old but gold in Company and Blanc. They are always a classic in the game. Blanc was obviously an SBC way back at the start of the game. Now we can still pick the card up, which is always nice. I don't actually know what his price is because it always shows up his SBC price. He's currently coming in on the market at 111. Not bad whatsoever. Company got two other versions, but to be honest, as long as you got that Anticipate, you are more than fine. We've tried to chuck up a few new players as well, and with the budget being 200k, it's not like everybody's going to be the top in the position. Like, you're not looking at your Maldinis, your new Militaos, your kind of fantasy company. It's going for the bog standard basic, and they can still do a job. I think Mappy Leon, 5-star weak foot, Anticipate jockey, decent pace, it's a decent upgrade on it, and some incredible defending. I think she could definitely do a job for that cheap of a price. Even Nesta, it may not have the kind of pacier side of stuff. It's still got up to 81. Slide tackle plus, I absolutely like now I've used Maldini. And Bruiser's definitely not the worst you could go with. We look at a Konate who is still due upgrades very soon. With the whole kind of international break and everything, it is a little bit on the lower side for him. I think when it comes to the tracker, I'll have a look at him. Rudiger on the other hand though, not a bad shout again. I must admit, he wasn't necessarily my favourite shout in the world. I think he's a decent centre-back. But this year, I don't know what's with him. I think when we look at Militao, when we look at Alaba, Koyunde, we look at Arejo from La Liga specifically, they're always overshadowing him, which I really didn't expect from Rudiger. We've still got 2 matches left for Liverpool as well. I did think that. We've obviously got Everton versus Liverpool on the 17th of... Oh, has that been postponed? Okay, I think that's been postponed. So we've got Brighton next on the 31st. So I'm assuming when they play again, that would be the next one. Yeah, I'm assuming that anyway. So he's still got upgrades. He's still got upgrades to go. I just know a lot of people are coming to the end. And I knew Liverpool and a few other teams have had postponed matches due to cups and stuff like that. So that is the reason why he's not gone up just yet. So Campbell, probably on the outside shout now. I don't know if I'd quite go 185 for him. He's a decent card, but he's kind of just hanging on by the thread at this point. Same with similar with Saliba, but it's the only version of an upgrade that you can get. But I did want to put him in because he is, well, he can be getting an evolution as well. So that's always something. You've got to look at these kind of lower rated cards when you look at Saliba because he got a team of the year. That's what everybody goes to. If you looked at the 87 or the base version and evolved him, that potentially is a case as well. A very good in-game centre-back, 100%. And then obviously we've got Petit here as well. More of a, well, starts as a CDM, but I think if you were looking at it between him and Rijkaard as a CDM to a centre-back, I think with that anticipate, Petit would be much, much better suited.
If your team's looking like this, then I have the place for you. Head over to U7Buy for all your coin needs. They're cheap, fast, and reliable, but make sure to use JT11 at the checkout for 6% off all of your coin orders.
Now, fullbacks have had a lot of cheap options, which I absolutely love. If you are struggling with them, I think realistically when it comes to fullbacks, there's normally only a handful I see. It's a Teo, any version to be honest, normally a team of the year unfortunately. You have Baka, you have Havertz, you have Rolfo now, and then you kind of find a variation of Alfonso. They're kind of predominantly most of the left backs. Not saying they're the only ones, don't worry. And to be honest, I am seeing Matheson quite a lot now as well. Right back on the other hand, Carfu, Lorente Centurions that I've only just got rid of, Pedro Porro, then you're looking at now a Reece James, and I think right back is one that just varies so much. But in terms of the most used, there's not really one for a right back. We did get the Carfu SBC, which I think a lot of people did do, but there's a new one now. 187,000 for a whipped past jockey, 91 James, I think is incredible value. And then we look at the rest of them, because realistically they're the main ones we wanted to see. I think out of this list, if I was picking two, Matheson looks incredible, and then James being as cheap as he is for an SBC, I was expecting him at least to the 300. Maybe 400, but I feel like that might have been overkill. At least 250 to 350 would have been my ballpark for a Prem 91 double player style plus English right back. You know the tax on that would be crazy. The fact that it was only 2 SBCs, I was delightful. Absolutely brilliant. It was done straight in the team and it's been brilliant. Now, if you were looking for a cheaper option, Pedro Porro's got your back on that one. Let alone that, we have got a Bellerin that is from the season, so entirely free. If he could fit your team, I think both options are very good for the price. Rico Lewis, I normally put in here because I know he will be due an evolution at some point. With the stats being pretty up there, it's mainly the pace that you've kind of got to bypass, but in terms of the card, he's not going to get another upgrade. I don't see him getting a team of the season. Whether he gets a footies depends on how really in depth they go with footies. So this could be the highest rated Lewis we could see, bar from an evolution. So if you are building a Man City team, a youngster Man City team, that could be your way in. So having him in your club already could be a decent move. Matheson, like we say, brilliant upgrade. Fantasies have been an absolute hit. I've loved most of the upgrades, and to be honest, most of the teams have at least had a 1 or 2 upgrade, which has been absolutely fantastic. We've got 2 older players in Teo and also Lizarazu. Obviously, both of them do have better versions, but in terms of in-game, we've always relied on them quite a lot. Lizarazu was much better in this version compared to the base, and then took one step even further with his fantasy, whereas Teo, his team of the year is insane, but pricey. And then we have got a lot of decent, cheaper cards. Grimaldo's an SBC at 66. I'm not the biggest fan. I really want Grimaldo as a centre mid. I think I'm now seeing him like how I see Trent, Acuna, Atal. Once they go up in rating, it seems to be they have a great spread across the board, meaning in a centre mid or CDM, he would flourish, especially with incisive pass as well. But then we have, what's the best thing about Ultimate Birthday is the 5-star or 5-star 3-star. Now that is going to be fantastic for the cheapness of it. If you are looking for literally a 10-20k left back, right back, this has got your back, because you're not going to get many with a 3-5 on any. I know the 3-star skills is a little bit down on the dumps, but the 5-star weak foot on a fullback is still going to be just as good. Alba unfortunately doesn't have the variation of another a 3-star 5-star, but would still do the job for 25. And Maitland-Niles does. He's either a 5-4 or a 4-5. I've kind of opted with a weak foot more so than anything, because I do think that's more important for the defense and also for the midfield. Attack, I do prefer the skill move for that little bit of an agility bonus, but these are very cheap and very affordable if you are looking for bog standard. Now, I don't know if it's me, but it seems to be the midfield is very much still on the kind of lower end cards. Like, we're seeing a lot of the older cards now where they have got multiple upgrades. Bar from Bernardo Silva, actually. He hasn't got an upgrade yet. Modric obviously had the Team of the Year to get a double playstyle plus. Not a big fan, so we're keeping with the nice 155.93. Obviously, Bernardo is one of the better cards you can get for 67, even though now it is starting to look less and less good because there is a lot of cheaper cards going out there. But in terms of centre mid, it's very hard to find them. The only one I could really find who is a little bit more expensive is Grace in a DM sort of role. Obviously, she does have the 5-3 or the 3-5. Again, I've gone for the 3-5 just purely on the fact she's going to be more defensive than on the attack. She's definitely a nice upgrade, and it's kind of why I put Keane in here as well. He can have both versions, but I do think the 5-star slide tackle bruiser, nice combination. Again, maybe not the biggest upgrade for him. I do think they kind of shot themselves in the foot a little bit. I know technically the winter wildcard was technically a left back, but you was only going to play him in centre mid. He can play centre mid, so it's not even if he was changed into a left back. It was almost, we're changing the position, but you can still put him in centre mid. So it's only a double upgrade, and the stat upgrade, it's a 5 physical, it's a 3 defending. There's just not too much about it. So I think with Keane, he needed a bigger upgrade. He needed to be a 91-92 with a bigger association with the pace, the shooting, and maybe a little bit more on that dribbling to really put himself into a point where I'm like, he could be well worth the price. And then we have a few older ones. Abili, Makalele, 2 of the icons with very good stats across the board. Both of them now have another upgrade. Both of them in Ultimate Birthday as well. Yaya Toure will forever be meta in any sort of card because it's Yaya Toure. He just imposes dominance in that midfield. 125 for him, which is crazy to think he is still that price when we have had so many heroes and so many picks for that specific genre of cards is nuts. Musiala, I think we are due another upgrade for him. I'm surprised that we haven't had a 5-star, 5-star or anything from him. This is literally the highest version of him. Whereas Valverde, I think he has the Team of the Year Honourable, which to be honest isn't much more expensive. It's only 30k more. So if I was instructing a card, make sure that you go get that 30 card because a double playstyle plus, it is a total change on the double playstyle plus though. He's got power shot and incisive here, but he's got relentless and rapid. So whatever you prefer, to be fair, it's really not that much of a difference in card by the looks of it. It's still got the 3-4 unfortunately, and it is the highest version you can get of him so far. Whereas Kaka and Socrates are always going to be very meta in my eyes. They're both very good at what they do. A 5-4 and a 4-5, both of them with more upgrades, and to be honest, I was expecting to see a 5-5 Kaka, but we have got the new promo, which is going to have a new set of icons as well. So it is all force before team of the season. I just think some midfielders we could do with some kind of more lower budget ones. Then we struggle on the wing because there is really very little that you can get for cheap. There is still cards, don't get me wrong, all of these would be viable. They wouldn't necessarily be the best option, but I must admit when it comes to wings and strikers, if you want at least a good winger, like a top performing, you are going to have to pay. They are very expensive across the board. But even so, we've got a lot of 5-5s here. Kvaratskhelia, I feel like this card now is slowly running out of hope. It is one of them ones that I do think over time he will get another upgrade. Whether we see him in Team of the Season, I don't know how well he's done for Napoli, but we've got an 89 Team of the Year Honourable that I thought was an absolute waste, and you can evolve him. Again, another one like Saliba, you can get him into that upgrade of a 90, I think it was, for very little coins to a 3 version, I think, as well. And you don't have to worry about skill move a weak foot. He's already a 5-5. We then have Ribery, slowly now coming into it. I don't know if having the Team of the Year Honourable in an SBC has dropped this price, but I still think he's got to be a good option. 5-5, technical. He's already got a decent amount of pace. You will want to go with the Hunters still, but I think Ribery is always going to be a very good option for the price that you're paying for him. Vinny is just there just purely because he's gold. I really like seeing a gold that's still this expensive. It is crazy to think he's still 118k, the second most expensive gold I think in the game. I want to say everybody else has dropped now, bar from Mbappe, which is nuts to say. Pulisic, more of a very, very cheaper option, same as Politano in the 30,000 coins. A nice upgrade for the both of them. McManaman, probably one of the cheaper heroes you'll find alongside Future on the other side. Both of them offer a very good kind of pacey side with that technical playstyle plus on both. And you do have a chip shot on McManaman if you do go for that option. Now, I got into my head that Hugo Sanchez was an SBC, and I don't know if that was last year or I'm absolutely losing the plot, because I really thought that was an SBC during Winter Wildcard, and apparently not. 200k, I love the new version of him, which is a striker. It's just a little bit different, but this version is still good enough. Same as Diane, very meta from the very start of the game. Now we're starting to see the kind of upgrades. I can imagine she will get a team of the season, hopefully. Again, I don't really know the women's side of team of the season, and how are they going to implement it? That's going to be the really interesting part. I can imagine they'll just do both together. So when we have the Prem, it'll be Prem and the Prem women, and then maybe throw in a minor league as well, which would mean there is going to be a lot of team of the season in packs. Then finally we have the strikers. Now, I must admit, there's more than I thought. Some of the icons I've kind of just chucked in just because they are definitely decent strikers, but they are losing a little bit of hope. Cantona is one that I don't really see very often, and it's a weird factor with him because he was always in just under the top. So you had your R9s, your Cruyff, Eusebio. I feel like he went in between them and then kind of like above, say, someone like an Eto, a Dalglish, a Butra. He was kind of that middleman, whereas people like, he was really good in game, but he isn't quite at the top like R9. It's a weird one to think, and I do think this version just didn't hit as much. I don't know what it is, but he's still going to be a good card. He's a 5'4", he's got the flare touch. I like the Thunderstruck, but I feel like we could definitely do another one soon. Maybe in the next promo we could see it. I know Cruyff is leaked, and that's about it at the moment. And I think Eto is as well. Butra and Dalglish obviously have better versions, but still will get you the goals. And then we have the cheaper strikers. We have Rapsadori with a 5'5", great upgrade for him. Will again get an evolution at some point. That could be a really good card to see. Candreva, very much like Politano, very cheap with a nice upgrade from the fantasy, which I absolutely love. Two future stars in Højlund and also Moukoko. I think both of them are very good up front. In terms of Rasmus, we have got the Player of the Month still, which is available for only a few more days, I want to say now. Could be wrong, it's probably got like 15 days left, but he definitely is coming to the end of it. Whether you'd want to go for that one rather than the 77k, I know that they do have two different sets of playstyle pluses, so that is always an option to weigh up. But I think in front of goal, he's very, very good. Whether he's done enough for a team of the season, I don't think so. Maybe a community if they are doing them, or potentially some sort of moments could be an interesting one. Failing that, I can imagine a footies would happen later on. Whereas I think Moukoko, I think he is brilliant. He's a great striker, and he's definitely come down in price from the 500-600k I paid for him. Much, much better. Couple of fantasy heroes in Voller and also Brolin. I think these two, now that they've got the 4-4 upgrade, very much like Smolarek, they are brilliant up front. I must admit, Brolin is my kind of favoured out of the two, even though I do love the finishing on Voller. Brolin's got that rapid, which really works well with my sort of tactics going forward. Lacazette with a nice upgrade as well. 93 on the pace, 91 on the shooting with 90 dribbling. 4-4 power shot plus, which I've become a bit more of a fan of. He definitely has it. And same as Kane, 76,000. He's one of them ones I never really got into very much. I'm not necessarily your hold up sort of striker player. I kind of like playing off people, so I always like Kane once he gets a team of the season or a footies in the really high end where we're looking at 90 plus pace on him, because it just gives him that little bit more of a mobility, whereas I do think I've been absolutely dominated by this card, so there is always got to be a reason for that. And if you can get the right stuff out of him, he is a fantastic finisher, which is always going to be happening with 96 shooting. So let me know down below if you've got any of these in your team, and I'll catch you all for the next one. Peace.